separate careers are going to be. Mitch McConnell will say all the nice things. He'll say that Donald Trump provoked things but didn't incite things. But under no circumstances is he even remotely interested in trying to hold President Trump accountable. That is not in his ideology, and that's not what he's going to ask anybody in his caucus to do. But what I think is important also to remember is by not having any communication with the president, it also indicates something that I think everybody needs to understand about the Republican Party. They weren't behaving this way just because of Donald Trump. It's like the, Dumbo and the feather, right? The feather wasn't making Dumbo fly. It was always within him. The Republicans were always a white nationalist party. That's what they decided that they were going to sell out to. So Donald Trump being gone or not communicating with McConnell doesn't mean they're not going to keep the same agenda. It just means they're not going to have somebody tweeting to 1 million bots every week to justify what they're doing.
I see your Brady mention, and I'll raise you one, Patrick Mahomes. Hey, Steve, this would have been the morning Rob Portman, newly fortified with the truth serum of retirement, conjured up the courage, but no, he maintains his 90% voting record. He voted on Trump's side today. Do you think we in the news media and chattering class were giving members of the Senate too much credit for how quickly they might migrate away from Donald Trump? Because this is a whole new kind of criminal cognitive dissonance, Steve. Some of these guys are going to sit here at this trial at desks that were looted and defiled, obviously in a chamber that was taken over, and to get to the chamber, they will walk past damage.
We have a crisis of cowardice in this country, but let's look at the two elements in the United States Senate, because they're two of the elements that always surround and make possible any autocratic movement. We have two types of people in there. We have the accomplices. We have the cynical elites. Holly, Cruz, Stanford, Yale, Harvard, professorships at Oxford, a clerkship to the Chief Justice of the United States. They know that the election was free, fair, and legitimate. They know that this is all a lie, but they are cynical and arrogant enough to believe that they can ride the tiger, that they can advantage themselves by going into business with the people that they have contempt for, the people outside who stormed the Capitol. And then there's the sheep, the people who just go along to get along, the accommodationists. That's what Rob Portman is, one foot in front of the other. He would be a lovely person to live next door to. He'd be a great guy for your kids to wave to. He'd be great to have an eye on the neighborhood. But he's a terrible United States Senator because he doesn't understand that sometimes his job requires conflict. And the conflict that it requires is to stand up and to assert his faithfulness and fidelity to the Constitution of the United States, which was attacked. It was attacked by that mob that was incited by Holly and Cruz. There is no moving on from this. The people's government was attacked. That night, 147 of them rose. If they succeeded, if that vote had passed, what would have happened? The 244-year-old American Republic would have fallen. If they had succeeded, even at the height of Jim Crow, there was never a federal action to take away black votes, to nullify them from states that had certified a result. We're in new territory with all of this. And so there will be accountability. By the end of the month, 1,000 people will have been arrested by federal law enforcement authorities. And there will ultimately, as the facts become clear, be accountability for the political leadership of the country that also incited this. Some of them are U.S. senators, some of them are House members, but for sure, we're not moving on as a country until there's accountability for one of the worst crimes in the history of the country.